The end of the college football season is here, and with an exciting conclusion to the regular season, the conference championship game should be no less entertaining, especially in the modern era of college football, where playoff spots are still on the line. In some cases, automatic playoff spots. Teams like Clemson and UNLV, who many thought were out of it, will have one more opportunity to advance to the playoffs, something we have not seen before. Here's who I think will win all the conference championship games this weekend and Friday. Starting with Tulane and Army on Friday night. This game is unlikely to have any serious playoff implications at this point. Tulane has 3 losses, and even though Army has just one, a luxury this year, they will almost certainly finish behind both the Mountain West champion and the Big 12 champion, leaving them out of the playoff. However, I still think this will be a very good game, which should be a competitive matchup. I think the difference will be the Army offense. While at their best they've been dominant, the unique triple option offense has also struggled at times, especially against better teams, including their only loss this year against Notre Dame. I think the Green Wave will be able to slow down the Black Knights offense enough to win the American Championship. I also think that Tulane will benefit from a more challenging schedule, which includes games against Kansas State, Oklahoma, Navy, who Army will play after Tulane, and Memphis. Army's a good team and has had a good season, but I think Tulane is a little bit better. The other Friday night game is Boise State and UNLV, which will likely be for the Group of 5 playoff spot, and in Boise State's case, a first-round bye as well. For starters, these two have met before, a 29-24 Broncos victory in Las Vegas, but that was all the way back in October. Although Boise State's strategy to win the game will be the same, give Ashton Jeanty the football, since he's a Heisman finalist for a reason. What is concerning for Boise State fans is that the Broncos have been living dangerously these past couple of weeks, including one-score games against both Wyoming and Nevada, and games against both Oregon State and San Jose State, where they were close before pulling away as the game went on. But overall, Boise State has been a very dominant team. UNLV has been too, with their only losses being to the already mentioned Boise State and then Syracuse. The motivation could not be any higher for the Rebels, as they now have a win-and-you're-in situation, despite the 2 losses, and a chance to get their revenge against Boise State. I think this game comes down to a couple of things, the first being Ashton Jeanty. I already talked about him, and for good reason. If he has another big game, the Broncos will almost certainly win. But if the Rebels can find a way to stop Jeanty, who has 2,288 yards and 28 touchdowns, including 128 yards and a touchdown against UNLV the first time, then their chances of winning increase significantly. The other main factor and thing to pay attention to is the home field advantage Boise State will have. Army will have it too against Tulane, but I think it could be even more important in this matchup. Ultimately, I think Jeanty makes the difference, and Boise State secures their playoff spot. Meanwhile, the chaotic Big 12 comes to its dramatic conclusion this Saturday, and for the first time in a long time, Texas or Oklahoma won't be involved. Instead, Iowa State and Arizona State will. Winner goes to the playoffs. Speaking of living dangerously, 4 of Iowa State's last 6 games have been decided by 1 score or less, including 2 losses. However, the Cyclones have won when it counts, winning 3 straight to end the year, including a victory over Kansas State, to secure a spot in the title game this weekend. Arizona State has been one of the biggest surprises this season, after 2 early losses to Texas Tech and Cincinnati, led by another dominant running back, although probably not to the level of Jeanty. Cam Skattebo will be a difference maker in this one. Similar to the Mountain West Championship, I think a lot of the game will come down to whether or not the Cyclones can stop Skattebo. If I had to guess, I would say not. The Sun Devils are playing their best football right now, and have improved as the season has gone on. Iowa State, well, with a promising finish to the year, have been alarmingly inconsistent. So in this game, I'm going to say Arizona State gets the win and a playoff spot. Now, a perfect example of a 50-50 game, and it often is, the SEC Championship game, this year between Texas and Georgia. Both teams coming off of emotional wins, a little extra, literally emotional in Georgia's case. And despite both already being ranked in the top 10 and in the playoffs, there's still a lot to play for, and a lot to be concerned about. The Bulldogs may have survived against Georgia Tech, but Ole Miss defeated them by multiple scores not too long ago, and they've had many close games against teams they should beat comfortably, whether it's Florida, Mississippi State, or Kentucky. Georgia's been very inconsistent, but also very good, beating Clemson, Tennessee, and Texas, and this same season is not an easy thing to do. That Georgia win was on the road in Austin, and was pretty dominant throughout. Kirby Smart knows how to win big games, one of the few coaches remaining who's actually won a national championship. Texas has looked more impressive, but they've done it against a weaker schedule. A lot of this game will come down to quarterback play. Carson Beck threw 3 interceptions the last time these two played, and although he was able to get away with it, this game he probably won't be so lucky. Against Alabama, he also threw 3 picks, including one that sealed the win for Alabama in the final moments. So taking care of the football will need to be the top priority for Beck, who struggled with turnovers this year. I think if Beck can avoid the turnovers, Georgia will find a way. I trust Kirby Smart to win another big game, since it's not against Alabama. Then on one of the 2 matchups to end the night, the Big Ten Championship features an unexpected matchup between Oregon and Penn State. Most, including myself, assumed this would be a rematch between Oregon and Ohio State, but Michigan had other plans. Because of that, I fully expect Oregon to win, and by a lot. The Ducks have looked like the best team in college football, and Penn State has greatly benefited from a weaker schedule. They barely escaped against USC and Minnesota, who have not had great years, and lost against Ohio State at home in a game they really never seemed to gain any momentum in, especially offensively, where I expect them to struggle to keep up with the high-scoring Ducks offense. Penn State has simply not won big games in recent years, and I don't expect that to change anytime soon. Oregon wins and secures the top spot in the 12-team playoff. Then to finish the weekend, Clemson has one last opportunity to make the playoffs. They needed help from Syracuse, and they got it. Clemson has also benefited from a weak schedule, and lost their only 2 games against ranked opponents, those teams being Georgia and South Carolina. SMU has also benefited from a weaker schedule, with only 1 game against a ranked opponent, ending in a loss to BYU. At the end of the day, SMU has looked like the better team, and it's hard to trust a 3-loss Tigers team. This one will be close, but I think the Mustangs find a way. History is upon us, as the 12-team playoff approaches. Conference championship games are more important than ever, and it should make for a great weekend of football. From Boise, Idaho to Atlanta, Georgia, college football awaits the results of a chaotic and thrilling season. As always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.